I believe in me.
I believe in me.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Stand strong. You are powerful.
Stand strong. You are inspiring.
We are fighters. We are ambitious.
We are extraordinary. We are conquerors. Simply straight talk, our voices will be heard.
This is Simply Straight Talk. Tune in now, you don't want to miss out. Real conversation, plenty motivation. Keep you thinking and still entertaining. Yeah, I know that you'll enjoy the mottos. Free your voice, it's your choice. Hosted by Reggie B, but you already know. And you gotta check them out and how we roll. Hey, ain't nothing off the table. Give it to you straight. Changing your mindset, talking past mistakes. You ain't gotta wait, time to take off. This is Simply Straight Talk.
I'm Melissa, and this is the Simply Straight Talk podcast, a podcast for the people. Reggie, Angelique, and I enjoy discussing real-life topics that we as real people who are constantly out here on a grind and hustle deal with every day. Stick around for the real talk and tips that will help you rise above the rest. Let's start this show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk podcast, man. Today, we're going to follow up from last week where we talked about passport bros, but this time, man, we just want to talk about dating in general. Now, next week, we're going to have an episode where Angelique is going to join in, and she's going to share her insight. So we're going to get a woman's perspective on the whole passport situation, because it's not fair that I just speak on it. I can speak from a male perspective, but definitely want to get Angelique in here so she can comment from a female perspective, a woman's perspective on the dating game today, and especially the whole passport bros. And also she can speak to how some black women feel about it based on her opinion, y'all. We all got opinions, but listen, here's the thing, man. When you hear people talking about dating today, it's become something that's just so taboo almost to even discuss. Because you got to think about it. Like, a lot of people are no longer seeing marriage as being beneficial. And I know men are not seeing marriage as being beneficial. Now, the thing about it is, when we talk about marriage not being beneficial to men, there are some things that men have just come to terms with. And it doesn't mean that men hate women. It just means that when marriage gets into the hands of the government, it just does not favor the men. When we're talking about divorce and the amount of money that men have to pay out, when we're talking about, in some cases, where the children, like the father is not given the opportunity to see the child, he doesn't really stand much of a chance when it comes to custody regarding the children. So it's just a lot that comes into play. And if a man has been married to a woman for so long and she hasn't worked, or maybe if she has worked in some states, you know, she can walk out with half of whatever he has gained. And it's just a big debate, because some women say, well, you know, if she supported him, she's entitled to half of whatever he earned or whatever he did. So these type of things just seem to boil over and just go over and round between men and women, to where we have gotten to the point where we are right now. Some people feel, as regards to men, some men feel like the whole feminist movement has caused women to become, you know, very, how do I say, like, you know, they just basically hate men. They don't like men. They really have a feeling about men that's very negative. And then you got cases to where some women, you know, just feel like they don't need a man anymore. Like, we're independent, we can do our own thing, so we don't need a man at all. You know, we are now the men. But then there are women who feel like, no, that doesn't apply to me. If you want to adopt that mindset, you adopt that for you. Don't adopt that for me, because I basically will manage my own life and make my own decisions about how I feel about men. And then we have men, you know, who just feel like, you know what, I can't seem to find what I want here, so I'm just going to start going overseas and traveling. And it just created this whole big confusing mess between men and women. especially between some races like black men and women, to where it's just a lot of anger and frustration that's being expressed towards each other. You know, black women feeling like black men have abandoned them, black men feeling like black women are not supportive and don't want to be, you know, the woman for them. It's just so much that's going into this that it's just very difficult. So like anybody who's getting into the dating game these days, anybody who's out here trying to find a mate, it's just so challenging because you don't really know what you want to do. You don't really know. Do you really want to get involved in all this mess? Can you find somebody with the values that you like? Like some men want a woman with traditional values. Some women want men that still hold traditional values. But you cannot say you want traditional values if you yourself are not traditional in your values. You know, you can't say that, you know, I'm independent, I do what I want, nobody tells me what I want to do, but you want the treatment that a traditional woman will get. You know, and it's the same for men. You know, you can't say, you know, hey, you know, I want a traditional woman, but you're not willing to hold the responsibilities that the traditional man held. Now, here's one thing I want to say about this. When people say traditional, when people say, oh, you know, a man should provide, keep in mind, because people throw this out a lot. When you talk about traditional, you got to realize that when men went out to work and came back home with the money back in those days, the families lived within the means of the paycheck. It wasn't like it is now, how it's like, yeah, I want a traditional man, but you better make 6 figures or 7 figures in order for me to classify you as a traditional man. You know, those women were hard. You got to give women credit, man, back in the day, because these women, they took a little and did so much with it to maintain the household. Not to mention what the men had to put up with when they go out into the world, didn't have to come back home. So it's like two sides to that coin that nobody really wants to talk about. Nobody really wants to address. Everybody just want to throw out figures. Everybody want to throw out, you know, their expectations, but nobody's talking about the reality of that. You know, everybody wants to reflect back on the old. Yeah, you know, it used to be like this. You know, women used to do this. Men used to provide like this. But both of them made sacrifices. Both the man and woman made sacrifices for that to work, because they understood for this to work, I got to work within the means of what my husband provides. And the man understood that, you know what, my wife needs these things, so I may have to sacrifice some of these things so she can do the things that she needs to do. But right now, everybody's like, no, I can't live in an apartment. You know, we can't have one car. You know, we got to have at least a mansion. You know, we got to have a $10 million house, and I got to have 5-6 bedrooms. I got to have 2 swimming pools. Everybody wants these expectations of luxury without looking at the reality of what it was when those traditional relationships were taking place. And people don't want to consider that anymore. They don't want to consider it, because the other argument going now is that his money is our money, but my money is my money. So that creates another problem, because bread is no longer 10 cents a loaf. You know what I'm saying? With the cost of the economy, the cost of living has drastically increased. It's very difficult for let alone one person to take care of themselves, but to bring somebody else into the picture and now saying you are 100% responsible for me, but I'm not going to be 100% committed into supporting you. See, there are so many factors that play into this when we talk about dating, when we talk about going out and getting into relationships and meeting people. And a lot of times I find that people get into relationships and don't really communicate what their expectations are. They don't really communicate about the reality of life, their experience, who they really are. They just want to put on this facade and want somebody else to finance that facade. And, you know, that's not right for either party. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a balance in here, and there has to be honesty between men and women about what they want to get out of a relationship. Like, what is your true expectation? Are you really looking to get into a relationship to build something with somebody? Or are you just looking for somebody to maintain your facade? You just want an image that you want to maintain. And if that's what you're looking for, you need to be upfront and honest about that. Whether it's the man or the woman who's putting on that show, trying to get somebody else to maintain that, because you got to realize something. People out here are working really hard, and nobody now wants to give away their resources. They don't want to waste their time. You know, they're looking for something that's serious and people that are serious. So these are things that you have to think about before you get into a relationship. These are things that you got to keep in mind because, like I said, women, I think this is just me speaking. A lot of women are upset because men have figured out that they have more options, and there is the time. Now, I'm not knocking women. Please don't take it that way. But what I'm saying is, you know, before, I think Shazad Ali said it best. You know, like, the black man has always been under the microscope, and men in general have always had to prove their worth and explain why they were worthy to be with a woman. But times have changed. So now men are saying, okay, what are you bringing to the table besides yourself? And that's what most women say. Well, you're getting me. You're getting my body. You're getting me. But men are looking for so much more now. The expectation is more, and it's not financial. That's the thing about it. Men are not looking for financial. They're looking for that respect. That's emotional support. But I think that's being missed. But also, men, we got to understand, too, that women are used to being provided for. That's how they've been brought up. That's how they have been raised in life. That they are to find someone who's going to support them, who's going to provide for them, and take care of them. And because men and women have both been hurt, both have their experience to where they have felt like they have been betrayed. Women have always been taught that your body is something precious. You should respect it. Anybody who touched you, you know, that's something of value. It's treasure. It's gold. Even though men and women both should feel that way about their body, women have been raised to feel that way about their body. So for them to give their body, I'm talking about a good woman now, to give their body means that they're giving you something that they consider to be of value, something to be treasured, something to be respected. Even though I understand, I know you understand, it should work both ways, but women have more so been brought up to understand that their body is a vessel, or their body is treasure. So it just created this whole issue to where women now think that they are the prize, when really the relationship itself should be the prize. That's what the prize should be. The benefits and perks of the relationship, you know, what the relationship accomplishes. So we have to be patient with women as women try to figure this thing out, because some women are getting into this world that men have been into for a long time, and we know the frustration and challenges, and they are just getting into it and figuring it out. So we just got to be patient with each other, man, and work together, stop all the hate, stop all the insulting and criticizing each other, and just realize it's got to be one love. You know what I'm saying? Respect everybody's preference for what they want and what they're looking for. If it's not you, then just let that person go their way peacefully. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we just gonna do a little short show today, man. Just kind of talk to you a little bit, holla at you. But thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a comment and tell me, what's your thoughts on dating today, man? What's your thoughts on modern day relationships? Holla at your boy.
That's it for this week's episode of the Simply Straight Talk podcast. Be sure to sign up to our email list at simplystraighttalk.com and follow us in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss our next episode. Wishing you a wonderful day from the Simply Straight Talk crew.